Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, breaking news. Last week, GDP per capita was worse than 2017. This week, it's worse than 2016. After 9 years as NDP Liberal government, Canadians are getting poorer. A recent study from the Fraser Institute found that Canadians are experiencing the worst decline in living standards in the last 40 years. Food banks are being overwhelmed. The cost of housing has doubled. Homeless encampments are now across our country. Canadians need a break. Will this Prime Minister stop his inflationary spending, stop his carbon tax, stop putting ideology before Canadians, and just for goodness sake, stop?
Seriously.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The member today talks about the Fraser Institute. I've heard him and other Conservative MPs in the past talk about rebel media, citing from them, for example. They ought to expand their horizons and actually look at the list. Look at the IMF list on GDP per person or per capita, Madam Speaker. The reality is we actually lead. We in fact are ahead of Japan, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. The reality also is that they want to cut pensions. Unemployment would be higher under them. It's an endless list, Madam Speaker.
Our economy is not better than Germany's or the United Kingdom.
They may not like the answer, but they should be listening to the questions. The Honourable Member for Northumberland, Peterborough South.
Well, there you have it. Over and over again, these Liberals say, Canadians, you've never had it so good. Well, the reality is far from the truth. We learned today that 0.7%, that's how much the GDP per capita declined in the first quarter. Things keep getting worse. If, in fact, the carbon tax keeps getting, these Liberals are capable of a carbon tax carve-out, why will they not give a carve-out for all Canadians across this summer? We know the carbon tax adds to the cost of living. They know it, we know it, Canadians know it. It's time for, on Monday, they'll have the opportunity to vote for a common-sense motion to save Canadians 35 cents per litre on gas. Will they vote in favour? Will they finally give Canadians a break?
Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
The member opposite is obviously from Ontario, Madam Speaker. What he just made clear, what the Conservative Party always makes clear, is they want to ruin the rebate for their constituents. A quarterly payment that disproportionately and positively benefits lower-income Canadians and middle-income Canadians. He talks about, and he always does, GDP per capita. Again, I refer him to the IMF list. We are ahead of powerhouses like Japan, Germany, the UK, and France. It's a hard time, Madam Speaker. We have more to do, but we're going to approach this in a responsible way, not like the other party with austerity.
I can tell you right now, if you went to Germany and said that Canada's economy is doing better than Germany's, they would laugh at you.
The reality is that Canada has the worst GDP per capita in the G7. Those are the numbers, and more than that, our constituents are feeling it. Your constituents are feeling it. The longer these Liberals are in government, the poorer Canadians get. Canadians desperately need a break. Will they agree to giving Canadians a fuel tax holiday, or better yet, call a carbon tax election?
Germany's GDP is $4 trillion.
Madam Speaker, I've been hearing the members opposite talk about road trips. I'd like to tell them about my last road trip when I was driving across Canada with my family. We had to cancel our camping plans because of wildfires. We had to reroute our road trip because of wildfires. We are taking action to make sure we're fighting climate change. The members opposite, they're letting the planet burn.
The carbon tax is not stopping wildfires.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent. Madam Speaker, the CAA has conducted a survey of its members' vacations plans, and unfortunately the results are brutal. One Quebec paper said that inflation, gas prices, and mortgage renewals are weighing on Quebecers' vacation plans. This is exactly the three things we've been raising for Canadians every day, and that's exactly what this Liberal government washes its hands of. And all this while yesterday the government ridiculed families. When will the government finally understand its management has been poor? Madam Speaker, the member across the way knows full well that the government of Quebec is not included in the Canadian price on pollution, the backstop, because Quebec has its own carbon market. The member also knows that what he's proposing is to save a cent or two per litre of gas in Quebec, but to save the money that they are saying, they'd have to go back and forth to Mexico all summer to have these savings. So, member for Louis Saint Laurent, I repeat, Madam Speaker, inflation, taxes, mortgage rates, For 9 years, this government has not controlled spending at all, or its inflationary budgets or deficits. They're feeding inflation and directly boost mortgage rates. As for taxes, we know that they've invented new taxes, and even worse, their bloc allies want to hike the carbon tax, and they punished people. Will these people finally understand one day that Quebecers are fed up of paying tax and having extra tax? The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Say 6.
That's exactly what we have to do, is understand the situation. It's very simple, Madam Speaker. 8 out of 10 families in Canada receive more back from the carbon rebate. And the reason is quite simple. Because all of these carbon revenues are redistributed to Canada's. The richest Canadians pay more than they receive, but the middle class receives more than they pay. And that is why 8 of every 10 Canadians families get more back in their pockets from the price on pollution. So it also avoids pollution. The honourable member from Manicouagan.
It's the first time he didn't say 6.
The Liberals have turned the Official Languages Committee into a never-ending source of reasons for the fear the future of French. After the member for Saint Laurent, who claims that Bill 96 prevents Anglos from being treated, and after the member for Glengarry Prescott Russell insults researchers concerned about the decline of French. Yesterday, the Liberal from Alfred Pallon said that Quebec must become bilingual to become strong and not just a unilingual francophone province. And according to him, French reduces us. So once again, is this the Liberal position? If